Gotta talk a little louder.
Yeah. Is it better to buy a pipe that has no coating in the bowl at all and breaking it in by yourself the way you want, or to get one that's already pre-carbonated? Which do you prefer and why? I'd like to hear what all three of you have to say about that.
Well, I'll start. I've been smoking a pipe for 43 years, and I would not smoke a pipe. I wouldn't even buy a pipe that had a coated bowl for years, for most of my life. And I was in a lot of sessions with other pipe makers where they have this type of discussion. And the younger guys are saying, given all these reasons why they coat all the bowls and constantly coat them. And I'm thinking, yeah. And long story short, it took me a while, and I tried coating some bowls and smoking them myself before I started doing any to myself, my own pipes that I'm making. I smoked it myself, and I'll tell you something. There's a lot of good reasons to have a coated bowl, and you have an instant cake in there. And in today's world, like Robbie, for years, like I said, I smoked a pipe for 43 years. I've also repaired pipes, I've refurbished pipes, I bought and sold estates, and I've made these pipes since 1975. I've made pipes since 1975. And I got to tell you that today's world, we're like we all know, we're doing everything really quickly, and we want to break in a pipe quickly too. And that isn't the way to break in a pipe. So this business of coating bowls, it's a good thing in my mind. Some of you have probably read some old farts like me that write in the rags that go out there, and they talk about, well, if I smoke a bowl that's coated, I lose the taste of the briar, and I miss that. It's not true. It makes no difference. By the time you smoke that pipe and get a cake in there with that coated bowl, you got a good smoking pipe, and it didn't take you hardly anything. It might take you 3 bowls to break in that pipe, whereas if you had a clean bowl with no cake in it, it'd probably take you 15 bowls, 10 or 15 bowls. So it's a matter of choice. And I have clients who say, you know, don't coat my bowl when you make a pipe for me, and I'll do that. And there are some pipes that I just won't do it to. But basically, I think you're better off with a coated bowl, and I think you're going to be happier with that pipe. And if you ever start having, if you excuse me, but if you ever start have problems or get a pipe where you send it to a repairman because it's getting hot in some spot or it's starting to burn out, that's what goes in there. A good repairman is going to put a cake in there with coating, and that's how it's going to come back to you. And that pipe is never going to burn out. You know, it just isn't going to happen. I mean, you got to really be doing something wrong with that pipe if you burn it out. So, go ahead.
And what do you coat it with, Bob?
Well, what I will tell you is this: that what's in there, everything is food grade and generic. Okay, so that's really all I get. The main ingredient in there is, give me a second, activated charcoal. Okay, that's the main thing. The activated charcoal, if you don't know, that's what you take if you got burp problems or gas problems. I mean,
is there really a trade secret that nobody tells?
No, it's not necessary. I don't want to make a big deal out of it. I mean, it's not like a trade secret, but everybody uses something a little bit different. And you might hear a lot about water glass. Now, Robbie's really a better person to talk about this because he's more of a scientist than I am. But water glass is actually chemical, right?
Water glass is sodium silicate, which is used like for egg preservative. They would put it on the outside of eggs. I tried it and mixed up batches of it, and that's what most of the Danes use. They use water glass and then powdered carbon. But there again, it's not, I have the spec sheets on it. It really is not harmful, so to speak, but what we pretty much use, like Bob is saying, is all food grade. So theoretically, what we use, you can eat it and swallow it. It's not hurt you. I don't know if I want to be drinking water glass. Right.
No.
It works really good. It's waterproof, but I had it bubble up a little bit too. I think it dries so quickly. I think retains some moisture inside of it, and when you heat it up, it's steam. It tries to bubble out. But then you got to put it on real thin. But anyway, I think the coatings that we figured out, being food grade, let's say, it's much better.
So
there
is no one recipe for the coating.
No, there's a zillion different. Some guys won't talk about it. It's a proprietary thing, and they won't say anything. But like, they'll tell you, yeah, it's carbon and maybe they'll tell you one other thing, and that's it. But other stuff goes into it.
Joe, what do you
What
say?
you want to
Some of your
hear,
pipes are
what you
expensive.
want to hear though, is that it's food grade. You know, when you're saying there isn't one formula, you know, that's the bottom line. You want to be able to eat. Not that you're going to eat it.
Right.
but I'm just saying, you know,
Right. Natural.
Yeah.
What do you say, Joe?
Well, I know that back home I've got about 3 different recipes for the coating inside of a bowl. To me, it's just a matter of personal preference. It's something that's been happening. I just think it's really the choice of the individual, whether you want a virgin pipe. I have probably a 50-50 split between people who say they want a coating in a pipe. I have a good customer that bought my pipes over the years. They were all just a clean bowl. There was no coating in it. But before he smoked it, he'd take it home and he'd put his own bowl coating in that pipe. And his preference was, I just don't smoke a pipe unless it's got the coating in it. And I've had just as many customers come up to me and say, gee, I'm really glad you don't put a coating in the pipe because you can see what's in there. And, you know, I like that initial taste of the briar. And to me, it's just a matter of personal preference. Personally, I don't care to put the bowl in. After making a really nice pipe, I don't care to go back and screw around with it and put this coating inside the bowl and make a mess out of it. But I mean, that's just, again, it's personal preference. With me, it's either way. If you want the coating in there, I can put the coating in there. But most of the pipes, and I've got a few that have coating in it, and I've gone around and around in circles with this discussion many times with clients and other pipe makers as well, and just kind of come back to the same point. It's just really up to the individual whose desire is either to have a coating in it or they just want a clean bowl. It's either way, it's fine with me.
It's also good protection. If you don't coat it and you're not a really experienced smoker and you singe and burn the wood, you can't go backwards. So once you singe it, it's over. So a lot of times it helps protect, you know, the 800 degrees you got happening in there. So it's excellent protection for the wood.
Anybody else?
Joe, how long does it take you to make a pipe?
I think the average is probably about 16 to 18 hours, but I've invested as much as 35 into a single pipe. So it depends on the shape. These big saucer tops, I can turn down the top on the lathe and I drill the holes and I cut the fine bead in it. But the rest from here down is all handwork. So this is about, you know, 25 to 30 hours invested in this pipe. The scallop shell here is about 37 hours of time that went into making this pipe. Now you wouldn't think that from just looking at a block of wood, but from starting off from scratch, you know, cutting out some, you know, the profile, drilling the holes, figuring out where to position the, you know, the shank on it, doing all the work on the shank, which is all by hand, and, you know, trying to make the thing look like a shell, cutting all the grooves, sanding it down, buffing it, polishing it. It's 37 hours in this pipe.
That's really a beautiful piece. It shows 37 hours.
Joe, what about the pipe with the ring? What's the time on that?
That's probably about the same. About 35 hours into this pipe. It's all one piece from the shank, and the rings are cut in there with a piece of deer antler mounted on it, and kind of a unique rustication that I put on this pipe to just go along with the design. And it's actually a sitter. There's actually a little flat spot in this one ring.